Hey, so I want to do a video on Git and GitHub. I'm going to do something a little differently this class. I'm going to do a repository for every week. So I want to just show you guys basically the resource you have available, as well as how to use Git and GitHub. So we're just going to do the basics. Assumes you have Git installed on your computer. So if you type Git, it'll give you a list of commands if it is installed. So you need to install and configure it on your computer. I'm not going to walk through that because it's kind of a case by case issue, and it's pretty easy to do. So I want to make the distinction first of all between Git and GitHub. So Git is on your computer. GitHub is the service where you store your repository in the cloud, as they say. So this is your repository on your computer, and then GitHub is a place where you store it. Okay, so if you ever forget how to do this, just go to your GitHub, and also this assumes you have a GitHub account. And just as an aside, the boot camp I went to had a money back guarantees that if you didn't find a job in 6 months, you got the outrageous amount of tuition you paid back, right? So one of the conditions for getting that money back guarantee was for 6 months while you were looking for a job, you had to make at least 5 Git commits a week. It was 4 or 5, I don't remember. But so basically, employers will look at your GitHub account, and most of them will actually ask for it as you're applying. They'll have a place where they want you to paste your GitHub link. So this is very important as a career. Not only is it an incredibly powerful tool, but it's also something that sort of it's almost become like a social media thing for nerds like us. So anyway, I'm going to clear this. So again, if you forget how to do this, you can start here. So what I'm going to do is make a repository for our code. So you can always just click on this green button, click new, and you can use their suggestion crispy fortnight, but I will not remember what crispy fortnight was in a week. So I'm going to call it nu-react-week 1. Okay, so all the code we did in week 1 will be in this repository. I meant to do this before the class started, but the best laid plans of mice and men, right? So you just basically, this is all you do. Name the repository, click create repository. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Okay, you can do that later. So create repository. So again, if you ever forget what to do, it's all right here. Okay, so you can just do this. You can copy the whole thing, paste it in your terminal, and hit enter, and it'll do it for you. But I'm going to go through this step by step. So okay, so my repository is called nu-react-w1 for week 1. So to keep things as simple as possible, I name the directory where I keep this repository the exact same on my system as I do on here. Okay, I don't know if that's required, but I do it because it makes my life easier. So I'm going to go in, and this command is the same on Git Bash and Windows. So to make a directory, it's mkdir, and it's nu-react-w1. Okay, so now if I do ls, which is I guess list, you can see that directory is in there. Okay, so I'm going to change directory, which is cd, into this, and if in your directory, if the only thing in that directory is something that starts with an N, you can just type N tab and it'll auto complete it for you. Okay, so now I'm in that directory. So I'm going to open it with Visual Studio Code. So that is code space period. And that just basically means, hey, Visual Studio Code, open the directory that we're in right now. Okay. So there's my directory. It's completely empty. And then all I'm going to do is close this and put this side by side. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I don't know it. So anyway, so here's my the directions that I'm going to follow. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I don't want to download. And I'm going to open my integrated terminal. Now watch as I do this. I'm going to do all of these commands. Watch what happens in my Explorer right here. So I'm going to copy this first command, okay? So I'm going to copy it, paste it in my terminal, enter. So what this did, what echo this line, arrow, readme, echo just means echo, like repeat. So echo means to like print this line into a file called readme.markdown, or readme.md. So what it did was it generated this file because it didn't exist, and it copied or wrote this into this file. Okay, and if you don't know Markdown, it's really easy to learn, and I use it. I don't even use a word processor anymore. I write anything I need to write in Markdown. So if you can look at this little viewer, and this is basically what it looks like. So Markdown is kind of a simplified version of HTML. It's pretty cool. So the next line is git init, which basically sets up the directory on my computer as a Git repository. So I'm going to copy this, and let me open this again so you guys can see. So I'm going to paste it, and again, watch what happens over here. So I hit enter. Now I have this .git file. This is how Git tracks everything that we do in this directory. So you'll never modify this in any way, but this is where Git keeps track of all your branches, all the information about your repository. So now I'm going to change this a little bit. Actually, let's not. I'm just going to copy exactly what they say. So git add will add, okay, let me back up. So let's do another command you're going to run repeatedly is git status. Okay, so that will show you like what is going on in your repository. So you can just read this and it'll tell you no commits yet, untracked files, use git add. In these parentheses, it'll tell you the commands you need to type. Okay, so it says use git add file to include what will be committed. So this, when it's read like this, it's not being tracked. Okay, so what this will do, what git add readme will do, is add this to our staging area. Okay, so I'm going to paste this again, run it, and then I'm going to run git status again. Now you'll see that it's different. Okay, so it says no commits yet, it says changes to be committed. So I've made changes to this file. It's going to say git, if you want to remove it, it's git rm, but we don't want to remove it. So we do add, commit, and then push. Okay, so it's add, commit, push, add, commit, push. Those are the steps. So the next thing to do is we want to commit this change that we made to our repository. So copy, paste, and git commit is just saying commit this to the repository. I've staged it. I want to commit it. So it says git commit -m is for message, and then this can be any message you want. Okay, you could say whatever, but usually it's like init commit or first commit or something like that. So I'm going to hit enter, and then if everything worked, you'll see something like this: one file changed, one insertion. Okay, and if I run git status again, on branch master, nothing to commit. Okay, so this line here, this is new, and I had to look up what it was for. Basically, Git and GitHub, they're moving away from this master-slave terminology because it's not politically correct. So So they're changing, instead of calling it the master branch and all the other ones a slave branch, they're calling it a main branch. Okay, so just to, it's a good idea. It's cool. So paste that, and basically that's just, all that does is change your master branch or your main branch from master to main. Okay, this step is what tells this repo where we want to store it. Okay, so right now it's just on our computer. It's on my laptop. So if my kids were to spill Kool-Aid on it, or I dropped it or something, everything I've done, all this hard work, this one line of text that I wrote would be gone forever. But if I had written 1,000 lines of code, the same would be true. Like if my kids spill Kool-Aid on it or whatever, it's gone. Right? So now if we do this here, this line, enter. Now, this repository on GitHub and my repository on my local machine are now linked. Well, it knows where to push to. So the last step is we're going to go git push -u means upstream. Origin main is the branch. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, paste this. Okay, so then you should see something like this without any errors. It's pushing it. So now if we refresh the page here, now I have my repository. So everything that I've written on here is now on here. Okay, so you can see the one line of code we typed is there. Okay, so that's the basics of a GitHub repository. So if we make changes from this point, I'm going to say, I'm just going to add a title here. I don't know. Let's just say week 1. Okay. So now if I save the file, you see that this is our Git integrated system in Visual Studio Code. So this badge tells me I have one uncommitted change. Okay. The same thing using the command line is if I do git status, it'll say that I've modified this file and I haven't tracked it yet. So all I have to do to track it is to say git add. Git add, and I can type the name of the file, or I can just say dot, which basically means git, just track everything. Okay. Then we want to do our git commit -m for our message, and I'm just going to say add title, or add heading. Okay, you want to make it descriptive, so let me just say add week 1 heading. Okay, and it's always like the imperative voice, like this. It should be read like your commit messages should read like this repo will blank. So this repo will, or this commit will add week 1 heading. Okay, so it's always like in the imperative voice. It's never past tense, which is the tempting thing to write, right? So it's always as if this is what it does. Okay, so I hit enter, then I do git status again. Okay, so if you ever forget what to do, run git status and it'll tell you exactly what you need to type. So use git push to publish your local commits. So all you need to do, you don't need to add the origin master and all that stuff. It's already linked. So you just do git push, pushes it, and then we refresh our browser, and there's the week 1 that I typed. Okay, and that's in the cloud, there forever. If you lose your laptop, something terrible happens, a power surge, it's saved. You can just get it back. Okay, all right, I feel like this video is getting long, so I'm going to stop here, and I'll walk through bits and pieces of what I do here, but I'm not going to do the whole thing because obviously you don't want to watch all this. So hope this helped, and I will see you guys soon.